All right, I got that all rolled. Looking good too. So that's gonna be it for the painting lessons today. Last tip, take your bag, and I've got my roller. And because I want to keep this roller damp and I want to keep paint on it, they'll last about, I don't know, 7 days. If you put it inside a bag like this, and basically what you're going to do is you're just going to wrap it up, make it airtight. Some people put them in the refrigerator, but I don't do that. I just wrap my roller up like this. Okay, that makes it nice and airtight. I'll take a little piece of painter's tape on it, put it on there, and then I'm going to label it. And that's important because especially if you're working, in a house that's got multiple colors in here, that way I'll know. I don't make a mistake. Geez, it'd be terrible to think you're all done and touch up a little spot, it's the wrong color. God, that'd just be a mess. You just have to paint the wall again, I guess. So anyways, that's, I'm gonna put my paint away. I guess I'll show you that because that can be a little bit tricky too, and you can really make a mess if you're not careful. So let me get everything together and I'll show you how I put my paint back in the can. Okay, so now that I'm done rolling, I want to go ahead and put the paint in my tray back in the can. Now, Marquee has come out with this new plastic lid, and it's got a spout on, and somebody thought, this would make it a lot easier. Maybe, I don't know, maybe some people will, but I tried it. They said with this lid, it makes the can now 100% recyclable, but you have to clean the can out to turn it in. And as soon as they told me that, I thought that's a no, that's not gonna happen because it would be a mess to try to clean this can out. And let's think of all the paint that you're then dumping into the environment. So is recycling the can balance or not? I don't know. But anyways, to work with it, I just popped the lid off. Okay, once again, always have your brush in your hand. Very important. Because if you go do something like this and when that paint starts to drip off the can and you're scrambling it off, what I do is I balance this on the lid and I just push it all back in there. And once again, because I'm very careful, I don't have a lot of crap inside the paint, or I haven't contaminated the paint. If your walls were dirty, you didn't clean them, you scraped them but didn't wipe them down, you may be actually putting a lot of contaminants back in this can of paint, which is not good, right? Because then the next time you go to use it and you go to roll it on the wall and you want to know, man, where'd all these boogers come from? Well, they're down floating in your paint from last time. Okay, so I got that taken care of. Got this taken care of. All right, I'm gonna take this and put it out in the garage because I got a little doggy living here, and that little doggy is sure to run through that and then take off. And I don't want to have to do all that cleaning. Okay, I think it turned out pretty good today. That was a total of about, it should take you about 8 hours. Maybe if you're just starting out, maybe a little bit longer. Hey, if it took you 2 days, who cares? If it looks nice, what's the matter anyway? So, yeah, it turned out nice. You can see there's still some streaking in the walls, but that's because they are still wet. One little tip, if you go through there and about this time, if you happen to see a spot, if you're going to have any runs, the runs will be the last to dry. And a lot of times I've literally come up and just put my finger through a run like that. It'll go away, and especially with this flat paint, it won't be any problems at all. See the walls where all the nail holes used to be? We're all gone. Looks good. Come around the corner here. Yeah. Turned out pretty nice. That's a good quality paint. Modern homes, when they're building them, most of them are matte, a matte finish. They've even come out with what they call a flat finish. But just remember that it's got to be washable. If it's not washable, you're going to get yourself into a lot of trouble. anyways, I'm going to do a couple more rooms today. And if I think about any tips that might help you, I will be sure and turn the camera on and film it and let you know. Plaster walls. A lot different than drywall. Drywall, you can punch this little anchor in, take this screw out, punch this anchor in, and everything goes well. Plaster, you have to be careful, because if you do the wrong thing, this right here, this anchor could blast out into a giant hole. I mean, all this could just come apart. And then you got a real problem. You can't just put drywall in it. You're gonna have to put a patch in it and go from there. So anyways, I'm gonna remove this screw right here, and then we're gonna see what happens, and I'm gonna try to gingerly pull this, back this anchor back out, and hopefully everything goes well. Let's see what happens. Okay, now it looks to me like that is a plastic anchor that's in there, which may be good. So if I go in here, yes, that's what you want right there. This is gonna back out. This is one of those plastic anchors. That right there. So that's good. That left an area that I'll trim around a little bit with my nail punch, and I'll be able to fill that, and not a problem. This one here is kind of sticking up a little bit, so I'm going to punch it down a little bit, put some drywall mud in there, probably take 2 coats for it to dry, and that should go well. So things don't always go that smooth, but I'm happy they did. And once again, it takes great care. You can't go in there and just start getting a claw hammer and trying to rip them out, because with that plaster, it can really be a mess. But I'm glad that one worked out the way it did. So I got one more to deal with, and hopefully it'll go the same way. Or maybe not. You can see now this is a different kind of anchor here. So I really can't get in there and it doesn't have threads. So I'm gonna have to make a decision whether I'm gonna punch that through or try to bring it out. This one looks like it's a little bit loose in there, so yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to get a pair of pliers and try to grab this one, and hopefully it'll come straight out of there. Yeah, if you're gonna hang any pictures, anything with, maybe more than a pound or so, these anchors here work great. What you'll do is you'll drill a small pilot hole in the wall. They say you don't have to, but I like to put a little pilot hole in the wall. And then these you take your screwdriver or your drill, and you can and this works its way in the drywall, and then you put a screw in it, and then if you ever have to take it out, for instance like here, and the house is going to go up for sale, you just back them out, trim out a little bit, put some drywall mud in there, and you're done. So if it's something really tiny, you can always put a little finish nail in there to hold it, but anything that's got just a little bit of weight, you can buy these at any hardware store. This is gonna work. I'm gonna try to, yep, it's in there pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, those screw and anchors work so much better than these. There we go. Okay, yeah, see these go in and spread out when the screw goes in, and makes a little bit bigger of a mess, but what I'm gonna do in order to patch this is I'm gonna take it and I'll cut this rough out right here, and I'll probably put a little backing in this, maybe a little piece of foam or something in there, and then put drywall mud on it. It'll take 2 or 3 coats to try to finish that up. I've got some foam I'm going to put in here as a backer, and before I put my drywall mud, but I need to trim this up a little bit first. That'd be the way to go. Okay, just gonna rake this out just a little bit here. Let's just cut it out. You know, like we were talking before, you just don't want any raised areas. You want everything to be recessed, so then the mud can bridge over the top of it. There we go. Okay, little X-Acto knife. Looks good. Okay, so the next step, I'm just going to take this foam here and stick it in there like that. That's it. Get on in there, everybody. There you go. Put it. There we go. Take my little screwdriver and punch it in there just a little bit. There we go. Okay, so that creates a backer. Okay. And then I've got me some drywall mud on here. And I'm just gonna put it on there like that. Like I said, a hole this size is gonna take it's gonna take 2 coats, maybe 3. But we'll put it on there and let it dry. I got some other things I can do and then come back and visit it. But there's your first coat. Okay, so here's the second one. We've got the first one patched up and going to the second one here. So it's the same thing. I'm gonna put some foam in there. And the reason you wanna put a little bit of a backer in there is, if not, you can literally, your drywall will just keep pushing back and there's no end to it. So when you do something like this, it kind of gives the a drywall place to stop, the drywall mud a place to stop. So you can see I'm just stuffing it in there, and it's pretty solid once you back it back in there, and that way there the drywall mud will have some place to go and sit against, and then you'll sand the outside of it once it dries, and it'll be good. It will be good to go. Okay, once again, got some drywall mud on here. Voila. Put it on there. Here we go. Whoops. Gotta focus on my camera work there a little bit. All right. Good. Remember we talked about in the video earlier, don't put, like, I've literally seen people leave it like that. And it's like, that's going to create so much work for yourself. So go ahead and skim that off, and just plan on putting another coat on there. It's going to sink in a little bit, but that's just the nature of the game. So just put you another coat, and then sand it a little bit, put you another coat. It may take 3 coats on a hole that size, you know. And I may actually break on plaster like this. I may actually break out my sander and sand it. Probably do a little bit better than trying to hand sand it. So that's it, fixing the holes in the wall on plaster walls. So here's another little tip for you. I got finished using this color, this one color. It was a Graceful Gray. It's a Behr Marquee color, and And so now I've got several other colors to paint. So what I did was I removed the roller from the roller handle. And what I like to do is, I don't necessarily want to get rid of this right away. I mean, you can try to wash this out if you want, but it's a mess, and I just don't find it worth it. I mean, it's $3.50. I used it all day yesterday, and I used it again today, and I'm pretty well done with it. But I never know. There may be some touch up. I may be walking through the hallway and see what I've got to touch up. And a roller is by far the best place. The best way to touch up, especially if you've rolled the wall. If you take a brush and try to touch it up, just the texture's different, and you'll see that. So what I'll do is I'll pull the roller cover off. I put it back in the plastic bag, like I had it. It'll stay good for, probably a week or so. And so I put it in there, and I'm just going to roll it up. And that keeps the air out of it. And I use a piece of tape. And I'll put it on there. And so now I know that's my graceful gray. And if I got to use it again, I can always take it out, put it on the roller cover, and try to use it. So that's a good tip. I'm going to go on with a different color now. If you're going to paint like, you're going to do like multiple colors, like this is a color right here that I'm getting ready to paint. It's called Fashion Gray. This color I just got finished painting is going to be Graceful Gray, or is Graceful Gray. Actually, this room in here will be Revere Pewter, but what is so nice is to go ahead and put your notes on the wall. Because when you get to doing this, you know, especially if they're all grays, you know, it's very easy to accidentally grab a roller with the wrong color and start putting it on, and then your whole project's shot. So then you got to come back and redo it. So it's important to go ahead and do that, you know, and to have your notes on there, Graceful Gray. And once again, you come over here, and I'm getting ready to paint right now. It's going to be Fashion Gray. So just a good idea. Just to save you a lot of problems, you know, down the road. You get to painting and you put the wrong color on. Okay, if you're ever going to do that, that's the best way to punch holes in. But one thing to remember, before you start to hit this wall with a punch and a hammer, go on the other side and see if you got any pictures hanging there. You know, you might have forgot about it. Might have pictures hanging, might have a shelf with some china. Anything could be on the other side of this wall, and if you get busy and you get to working fast, you just don't know, and then you got something crashing on the other side. Also, I guess if you live in a condo, or an apartment, you know, you might want to let the neighbors know that you're in, you know, you're going to do some painting and you're going to be tapping around on the walls like that. You don't want them calling the cops, you know, thinking somebody's next door shooting a gun off or something. People are weird. People kind of get a little anxious with things like that. People are kind of high-strung these days. So tell your neighbor, hey, I'm going to be tapping around and everything's cool. No problem. Remember to go ahead and pour a little bit more than you think you're going to need, because you can always put it back in the can. So I think that's going to do it. Put your lid back on. brush is always in my hand. Always in my hand. It's always slow starting out when you have a brand new roller cover. It's amazing how much a roller cover will hold, how much it'll soak up before it actually gets to working like you want it to. Yeah, so you can see it's pretty easy to paint. Just take your time. Don't get messy. Don't get paint on your hands. Get it on your roller cover. Get it on your paintbrush. Get it on your face. Get it on your clothes. You know, best thing to do is just try to stay as neat as you possibly can. And it all goes well, and you're going to be satisfied. You know, this didn't take, you know, a couple hours to do, to trim it out and to paint it, and you know, especially like if you're going to sell your house, you know, somebody's going to come look at this house and go, wow, this was brand new. So, anyways, good deal. This is one of the few times that I will actually rinse out a roller. I only used it, you know, for those two little walls, so, and I don't have to use that color again. So, you know, the paint these days have become very environmentally friendly. Forget the days of past with the oil paints and the paint thinner and all that stuff. That was a disaster. So, you know, you can rinse it out, soap and water. It's just a matter of you just keep the water going and squeeze it out. Anyways, I got this roller. This roller's nice and clean. Now what I'll do is I'll go outside and shake it back and forth and get the excess water out of it. And probably within a few hours or so, it'll be ready to be used again. Couldn't use it right now, it's too wet. It would just water down your paint. Behr Marquee is thick anyways. It's good. It's what a paint guy one time that makes paint explained to me. Paint has a gut. They have guts in it. And the more you pay, the more guts it has. The more ingredients, the more chemicals that make it a better quality paint. This Behr Marquee is an acrylic. So I can literally use a bucket to cut in, and once I've used it, put the paint back in the can, let it sit, come back a couple days later, you can literally peel the paint out of it and it makes its own bucket. It just sticks together. So it's good paint, but after it's sat in the can for a couple of years, it definitely tends. It's always nice to know somebody cares about you enough to put a little note on your lunchbox and on your sandwich baggie. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. Okay, I'm finishing up the plaster walls that we started yesterday. We patched the holes, prepped the walls, and now I'm putting the final coat of paint on them. So it's looking good, it's looking good. This little series of videos on the painting looks to me like it's probably going to be in 2 or 3 parts. So if you start to watch one of them and it's not quite the conclusion, there's probably a part 2 and a part 3 that'll come up. Once again, when you're working with this marquee, you got to keep moving, keep it going. It dries really, really fast. Take your time up against the ceiling so you don't hit it. One more section to do here. Woo! Voila, voila. Beautiful morning. Southern Indiana summer morning. Forecast high of 96. Low tonight 75. 80% humidity. 20% chance of a pop-up thunderstorm. Notice I take my time and really make sure that this pan is cleaned out well. Because next time I go to use it, you know, which may be tomorrow, I want it to be dry. I don't want a lot of paint sitting in there. Plus, I don't want to waste a lot of paint either. Okay, I mentioned the other day about the Behr marquee and how it's an acrylic paint, how it's got acrylic in it. And so this is the bucket that I used the other day when I was cutting in the hallway. And what I wanted to show you is I'm going to use it again. I'm going to switch colors, but it's not exactly dry down here at the bottom, down inside there. So, but I was going to show you how an acrylic paint will just peel right out of the container, almost as if it makes its own container. So let me show you how this works here. Let's go around and you just peel the guy off like that. Isn't that cool? There we go. Okay, and this white that you're seeing in here was a different kind of paint, so I'm not sure if that was the marquee. It seems to be sticking a little bit more than the marquee will, but still coming out okay. All right, so pull the rabbit out of the hat. Voila! There we go. Ain't that something? But that is an acrylic paint, and so you can imagine if it does that, how once it's on your walls, you know how it's going to coat your walls and almost you know, give it a real protective coating. So anyways, thought I'd show that to you. I think that's interesting.